This conference will now be recorded.
Well, very good morning. So, have you done hands-on with the commands? Revert, check out. Okay. Then reset. Okay. What was the other command I asked you to do practice? Anyone tried it? And git stash. Stash. I think you already have practiced it, but now you're able to understand the differences between these commands. Yeah. Good. So restore. How many of you tried this restore? No one. Why? Not able to try or don't get the syntax? You didn't get the syntax. Just Google it. You'll understand. Well, so now let's start with complex. Okay. Now complex is a common concept. You come across complex in many other topics like merges as well. Okay, we talk about merge. So when we talk about merge also, we can expect conflicts. But let's talk about first what is a conflict. Now where we can expect a conflict. So a conflict can be expected in a scenario if you have multiple developers are trying to modify the same file, same lines, and then there is a conflict. Okay. Now I've given a small idea about that conflict yesterday, but let's go into that in detail today. Let's take two developers. So we have developer 1 and also developer 2. So both developers are working with same file. So that's a file they have been working with. Okay. And currently, what is the commit ID? So they are working with, that is important. So the commit ID they are working with is, so like just something like this. Okay, that's the current commit ID for both developers. And moreover, this is the same commit ID which is available on the repository. Okay, let's take our repository then. Let's take our repository. So that's our repository. And what is the current commit ID? Click on the commit ID. So that's the current commit ID. That's the commit ID. Now, both developers, their repositories, local repositories, are they up to date? Can I say that local developers repositories are up to date? Yes. So they are up to date. Since, how do you know it's up to date? So the current commit ID which is available on the remote repository is same as your local repository commit ID. So head is the same. Clear? Now, so in that file, let's say there are some lines. There are about 7 lines in the file. Something. So write some lines. About 7 lines in this file. Some Java code. It's not exactly Java, looks like. But so this is the code we have in for both developers in that commit. So just copy the same file. Copy. Well, so we have this file. And now as a developer one, let's modify the file. I'm going to modify that file. Let's modify 3 lines in the file. What are the lines I'm going to modify? Line 1, 3, 5. And also developer 2, modify 3 lines, 1, 3, 7. Now both developers are modifying the file same time. Okay, and even the same lines. Yes. Now as a developer, I'm adding some lines. I'm modifying something. Let's say some developer 1. And what is the other line? Line 3. Some changes. And then line 5. Okay. Next. So developer 2. Developer 2 is modifying line 1 plus what is next line? Line 3 and then line 7. Well, and developer 1 is committing and it's committed, and then comes some new commit ID, something like this. That's a new commit ID. Okay. And also it is been pushed. Well, but other developer 2, so he has no idea that other developer 2 has already pushed it. Developer 1 has already committed and then pushed it, but that is developer 2 has no idea about that commit, which was modified by developer 1. So as in developer 2, I'm thinking that, so still this is the commit ID on the remote repository. But what is the current commit ID on the repository? So, but I have no idea about this, but still I'm committing it. Can I say that as in a developer 2, my local repository is not up to date? Can I say that? Yes. So my local repository is not up to date. Still I'm committing it. Will I be able to commit? Yes. Yes. I will be able to commit it. So then can I push it? No. So why I'm able to commit it, but why not push it? So the commit takes place on the local repository. Since commit takes place on the local repository, still it will allow you to do commit. So can I push it? No. So no, there won't be a conflict. So there will be an error message saying that so local repository is not up to date. So this is what is the concept of update. So if your local repository is not up to date, it won't allow you to do any pushes. So the same logic now. Now my local repository is not up to date, then push will be a failure. And also it is going to throw some error message. What is that? So not up to date. Okay, your local repository is not up to date. And then how do you update it now? You remember this command, pull command? Yes. Now we pull it. Did we try that command? Not so far. Okay. Yesterday I tried it, but so let me try it today. But anyway, the command is regarding what pull does. Pull is going to pull the changes from remote repository to local. Update your local repository. That is what is pull. Well, so can I pull it now? Can I pull it now? Okay. So what pull does? Pull is going to update local repository, but what do you mean by update?
It will modify the current repository in the previous current repository we are whatever the recent committed update.
So yeah, so now we can say that all the changes you have on the remote repository will be merged into the local repository. What is merging means? So whatever the files you have on the local repository, so they will be replaced. Right? The changes you have. So let's say, for example, in this example, so is my hello file is up to date? As a developer 2, is it up to date? No. So that hello file, which was committed by the developer 1, which is available on the remote repository, this file will be overwriting with the file of developer 2, or will be merging. Okay, that is what is updating, or pulling or updating. Now, if I update it or if I pull as a developer 2, now is my file merged successfully or not? So will it be merged successfully or will it be updated successfully? Now again, so what is merging? Sorry, what is pulling? Merging the changes from remote repository to local repository. If my file is merged successfully, then how about the changes I have done? Or as a developer 2, I have modified these 3 lines, right? 1, 3, 7. Now, are the changes are committed? Yes, changes are committed. Okay, but what you are trying to do? You are trying to merge that file with your remote repository. Then, so there are chances that you might lose the changes, right? So you are allowing it to merge it. So if that is merged successfully, then the issue will be your file will be overwritten or your changes will be overwritten. If the changes are overwritten of the developer 2, then I'm going to lose my changes. Right? I'm going to lose my changes. But my changes are important. So that is the reason. So it is not going to merge it successfully. Instead, it is going to throw an error called so merge conflict, or you have a conflict. Okay, now we have a conflict. Now, so what is a conflict now? So I have modified my local repository. Okay, I have modified my local repository and also have committed. But so when I when I push it, so then I came to know that my local repository is not up to date. Since local repository is not up to date, I am trying to pull the changes, but the pull was a conflict. Why there was a conflict? If the pull happens successfully, so there are chances that I might lose my changes. Then in that case, your files won't be merged or your repository won't be updated. Okay, then what might happen? So I mean, that is what is a conflict anyway, but what is the resolution for this? What's the solution? How my file looks like when I pull it. So we know that there will be a conflict. We know that. But what do you mean by conflict? Conflict is nothing but, see how what it happens. Just look at here, line 1. So and then line 3. That's line 3. But line 5. Now this is how your file looks like for developer 2 after you pull it. Now tell me what happened in this example.
The changes have been done on the same file where developer 2 has.
Changes.
Changes are done on the same file that developer 2 has worked.
Look at the lines, look at the file.
Okay, changes done by developer 2.
It's showing both changes.
Yes. So see, can you see both changes? Right? So we have both changes. We have developer 1 changes as well as developer 2 changes. For how many lines? 1 and 3. But how about line 5? Can you say that line 5 is merged successfully? So line 5 was merged successfully. So how do you know? You see that here we have developer 1 change. Which user file that is? This is developer 2 file. But what is the change I see? Developer 1 change. The line is successfully merged. Then how about line 7? Any conflict? No conflicts. How many lines we had conflicts now? 2. Why 2 lines? Line 1 and 3. What? Yes. Those are the 2 lines modified by both developers. 1, 3. So that is what is a conflict now. So whenever developers modify the same file, same lines, that is important. So if the same file is modified but same file but different lines, can we expect a conflict? No. There won't be a conflict. Understand the question? So it is the same file but modified by both developers plus different lines. Let's say developer 1 has modified 1 to 10 lines. Developer 2 has modified 11 to 20 lines. Will there be a conflict? No, because those are different lines. Can be a same file but different lines. But in this example, same file, same lines. Then the lines in that file are not merged successfully. How do you know lines are not merged successfully? Because that file is maintaining both changes. So that is a conflict now. This is how do you see how developers to see that file. Okay. Rest of the lines, line 5, is it merged successfully? Yes. And line 7, of course, it is only developer 2. Can you say that other lines don't have conflicts? Other lines don't have conflicts? Yes. Only these 2 lines are under conflict. So which developer has a conflict? Developer 2. Then who has to resolve the conflict? Developer 2 has to resolve the conflict. Now, what do you mean by resolving conflict?
Whether the changes.
Now, developer 2, they can decide whether he wants to maintain his changes or other developer changes. Or can you say that, so this is my local change as a developer 2. Can I say that that's my local change? Yes. And we can say this as remote change? Yes. So now developer 2 can decide whether he wants to maintain local changes or remote changes. So let's say I'm a developer 2 and my changes are important. So remove my changes. Then, so the file conflict is resolved. Then we can, as usual, stage it, commit, and then push. Here, this is what is a conflict, how to resolve a conflict. But you should be careful about 2 points. So these are the 2 points you remember whenever there is a conflict. So what are those 2 points we should remember? The first point is no data loss.
So why do we need to merge it, sir? Instead, we can pull the file of developer 1 and work on it.
You understand it, okay? Once we go to practical, you understand it, okay? So, is it confusing? Why do you pull it? Sorry, what was the question? Why do you pull it?
Why do you need to pull it and work on the file? I mean, you can pull the file from developer 1 and work on it.
You don't pull the files from the developers. So, what is the concept of repository?
Well, you are pulling the file from repository that has been worked by developer 1.
What if you have 10 developers? What if you have 100 developers? Are you going to pull the file from 100 developers? Right? Well, now, so now always remember you have no data loss. I mean, whenever you have a conflict, remember there should not be any data loss. And other point is, so this is actually first point anyway, whatever. So local repository is up to date, right? Your local repository is up to date. So the first is, actually this is the first point, make sure your local repository is up to date. And so whenever you update it, if there is any conflict, make sure you don't lose the data. Okay, these are the 2 points you always remember. I mean, developers remember it. I mean, If you don't follow any one of these steps, then there will be some loss. Okay. But anyway, first back to our repository. So let's do first. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to open Git bash. So, and then we're going to create two different folders for different developers. Let's remove that repository. We don't need it anywhere. We can clone it if you like. Let's remove it. So make a directory. One is for developer 1. Another one is for developer 2. We have two directories. Now for developer 1 first. Okay. And open another window, Git bash window. And this is for Git client. And there you have dev 2. Okay. Let me make it. So I want to put it side by side. So that we can easily understand it, what is going on with both developers. Okay. So now we have two windows open. For one is for developer 1, other one is for developer 2. Don't get confused. So just look at here, developer 1 and then developer 2. Okay. Well, now first let's clone the repository for developer 1 and then do it for developer 2. So what is the command? Git clone URL. So URL, clone it, and try that for, so git clone for developer 2. Then so cd repository. So make sure you're in the working copies for both developers. Sorry. So clear the screens. Now just look at here always. This is how you understand what are we, developer 1 or developer 2. Now first developer 1. So modify that file first. Okay. So let's modify something as a developer 1. So just save it. Now what is the file status for developer 1? Modify, and then what is next thing? So go with git add stage it, and then git commit. So let's say git commit. Again, just say modify, and then push it. Password. Now, so now we have pushed as a developer 1, but as a developer 2, do I have the change? Do I have the update with me? No. How do I get the update? Git pull. So I'm pulling it. So we are not implementing this scenario so far. So first we'll look into a couple of commands like git pull, git fetch, then we'll talk about the scenario. So I want to show you first what pull does. Once we understand what pull does, we'll get back to the scenario. Okay. Now git pull. Okay. So there is your. So just maximize the screen. Now what do I see? Hello file is changed. One file is updated. Some 2 insertions, and you can see the file now. That's a file. I have the update. Done. Well, So let's do one thing. As in a developer 2 now, I'm going to add some change in the file. Okay, so what is the change? Some line has been added, some change has been done. Save it. And what is the next thing? Git stage here, add it, and then commit. Let's just say modified something, and then git push. So email, user ID, and then password. So developer 2 has pushed it. Now as a developer 2, I want to have the same change in my local repository. What do we do? Pull it, right? We pull it. Okay, fine. So let's pull it. So, but I'm not going to pull it. Instead, I fetch it. Okay. So we know what happens if you pull it. Your local repository will be updated, right? But I'm not pulling. Instead, I'm going with fetch, enter. So did I fetch the change or did I pull the change? No, right? Okay. If that is no, now what is this commit ID? Is it the same commit ID is available on the remote repository, or is it the same commit, or was it pushed by the developer 2? Let's see. Just a second. Refresh. You see that? 9862885. Okay, fine. But when I was trying to fetch it, is it same ID, same commit ID? So it is showing that you are going to pull the change. But did I pull the change? So what fetch does? Fetch gives you an idea what commit you're going to pull it. But did I pull it actually? No. Then what we do? We just copy that commit, copy the ID, and then look at the log, and then commit ID. Git log and then ID, copy that. So this is the latest commit. Okay, this is the latest commit at 10:32. So which was done by other developer. But so it is giving a log information, but did it really pull the change? No, I haven't pulled the change. But what git fetch has done for us? Git fetch has not pulled the change. When you run that git log command, do I see that 1032 change? No, that means that log is not updated into my local repository. So what fetch does? Fetch gives you just an idea what is the commit ID you are going to pull it, but I did not pull it. So that's the difference between fetch versus pull. Okay, but when I pull it, yeah, what was that? Sorry. Yeah, suggestion, just an idea, right? So it does not merge the changes. Okay, then go with now. If I pull it, then I can pull the changes, update the changes now. Now I can see that the file is changed. This is the commit ID I have updated. I can see that file now. So we have the update. Okay, so now let's try with now. Back to the scenario. Okay. Now what is the scenario? First, as in a developer 1, I'm going to modify 3 lines. Let's modify. What are the lines? 1, 3, 5. Modify 3 lines. And then line 3 from developer 1 and line 5 from developer 1. Well, save it. And then what is next? Add and then git commit. So hello file modified. Okay, let's say give some name from developer 1. Then see, do I get conflicts if I don't push it?
No.
So as a developer 1, I have committed, but I haven't pushed it. If I don't push it, will it be a conflict for developer 2? No. So because all the changes must be available on the remote repository, then only there will be a conflict. If there is no conflict, so there is no chance of, if there is no push, there is no chance of conflict. So that means you have done perfectly. But whoever commits, whoever pushes after that, for them, there might be a conflict. Okay. Right. So git push and the username, password. Now back to developer 2. Now, so if I pull it, will it be any conflict? No. So that's why I want to create a conflict, so I'm not pulling it. So we know the pull concept, right? So I'm not pulling it without pulling, modifying the file. Let's modify 3 lines as a developer 2. Okay, modify these 3 lines. Developer 2, and also from line 3, that's developer 2, sorry, and line 7, developer 2. But save it and then git add and then git commit. Let's say modified from developer, done, and then git push. So did you see that there was no conflict when we push it? So the conflict occurs when you, when we committed, when it was committed, there was no conflict, but the conflict occurs when you push it. Now, username, ID, sorry. So here you see. So what was that? We are pushing and then push was rejected. It is failed, right? So why it is failed? Because remote contains work which you do not have it locally. On remote repository, you have some modifications, you have some changes, but you do not have those changes on your local repository. So what is the reason? Some other repository means some other developer has pushed his changes, their changes, and then first what it's asking, integrate the changes into your local repository. And then how do you integrate the changes? Git pull and before you push it. Okay. Now let's try that. So git pull. And will it be success? So there we have conflict. So what pull does? Merging. So was it merged successfully? No, it was not merged successfully. Merge conflict. We call it merge conflict. And there automatic merging is failed. Fix the conflicts and then commit the result. So where was the conflict? That's my file. There is a conflict. Well, So we're going to merge conflicts. But if you want to merge a conflict, we use Git merge tools. Using those tools, we can merge the conflicts. So what is the tool? So Git merge tool. Using that merge tool, we're going to resolve the conflicts. We're going to merge the conflicts. But if you want to use the tool, make sure you set that merge tool in the Git global configuration. So we have set up some global configurations, right? What are they? What was the command? Hyphen global. Yes, user dot name and then user dot email. Now I'm going to set up git config hyphen global, which is merge dot tool. So I'm setting up merge tool. What is that merge tool? VAM diff. So VAM diff is the default merge tool provided by Git. Using that merge tool, we can resolve the conflicts. Okay. Now, so if you don't set up this VAM diff within your global configurations, then you cannot use that VAM diff as your merge tool. Just like user.name. If user.name, user.email ID are not set up in global configurations, can we commit it? Set. And set up another configuration, which is git config hyphen global core.editor, which is VIM. So why this core.editor? So VAM diff uses some text editors. For VAM diff, we also need text editor. What text editor is required? So these are all the files, right? We have files. If you want to open the files, who is going to open the file? VAM diff is going to open the files. It's going to resolve the conflicts. But internally, VAM diff needs VAM as its text editor. Well, now try these two commands. Then we're going to use that VAM diff as our merge tool. Okay. Well, so what are the commands? Git config hyphen global and then merge dot tool, and which is VAM diff, and then other one git config hyphen global core dot editor VAM. Enter. So check the config list. Git config. What was the command? Hyphen list. Sorry. So where is it? Core dot editor and then merge dot tool. These are the two attributes, two parameters. Now they have been set. Now we can try with. So where was the merge? We had a merge, right? Okay, I can't show you. Well, anyway. So now there was a merge. How to resolve the merge? Using git merge tool. This is a command. So this merge tool is going to merge the conflict. Now enter. What was the tool actually? VAM diff. Okay. Now we are calling that VAM diff. So there is our VAM diff. Now, so this is why these files are open and who has opened these files. VAM diff is trying to resolve the conflict. Internally, it has opened all these files. And who is open? Who has opened the files? VAM is an editor that has opened the files. Now, how many files we have? So we have 4 files. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 files. What are these files? Why we have 4 files? Yes. The first file you see, okay, the file, this is a file. Okay, the bottom file is conflicted file. Okay, we don't see this color presentation. I don't know why they follow this blue color. It's not so clear to understand. So we'll open the files using normal editors instead of this merge tool. I'll be showing it. We have 4 files. This is your conflicted file, and this file is your developer2 file, and this is developer 1 file, and this is a file before even developer 1 has committed. So when the conflict occurred,
Only when developer
after developer 1, right? So what was the file before that? This is a file, and this is developer 2 file, developer 1 file, that's before the version, and this is your conflicted file. Anyway, the colors are not so visible, so it's not so user friendly. Don't know why they follow that, but let's do one thing. So let's open another Git bash. We can open the files using normal editors. And then for which developer there was a conflict? Developer 2. Right. Repository. You see that there is merging for developer 2. Well, so what was the file we had a conflict? Hello.java file, right? Let's first look at the file. So this is a conflict. Okay, the same file you see even through the merge tool. So the bottom file, okay, this file. Right. Now what that file has, how do you know what lines are under conflicts? How do you understand? So this is what is your divider. We call it divider, and for the divider, the changes you see above that are the changes done by the head. Head means latest. So that means, can I say local changes? And the changes you see below are from that commit? Yeah, from the remote. So now we can see both changes. Above that, local changes. Below that are remote changes. So you can see also the commit IDs. That's first thing. But other lines, line 5. Is there any conflict in the line 5? No, that was already. Can I say that line 5 was already merged? So that is merged with developer 1 change. And how about line 7? Only one developer 2. So no conflicts in these two lines. We had conflicts only these lines. Okay, fine. Now just close that file. And apart from that file, so you can also see another file. What is that file? The backup file. Okay, it's the same file. Same file. Okay. So why that file? What is the purpose? So we'll talk about that once we conflict is solved. Then look at that file vi, and then what was the file name? So hello, and then underscore local, right? So which user file? Developer 2 file. So that means this is the file. Okay. So that's a file, developer 2 file. Oh, sorry. This is developer 2. Okay, that's developer 2 file. Well, and then so other files, which is from, let's say, remote. Okay, that's a remote file. Open it. So what changes we have? Which user changes we have on the remote? Yeah, I can see the developer 1 file, and then you have this file. What is that file? Is base file. What is base file means? Before any developers committed, what was the commit? What was the file? Okay, that was a base file. So whenever there is a conflict, and there will be 4 different files created. What are they? The previous version and the remote file, plus local file, and then conflicted file. These are the 4 files. And all these files automatically will be deleted once the conflict is resolved. Did we create these files? Right. So the files are created automatically since there was a conflict. So those files also will be deleted automatically when the conflict is resolved. Now, how to resolve the conflict? Now, back to your file, merge tool. Now you decide that, as a developer too, I feel that only my changes are important, developer one changes are not important. Yeah, very simple. Just insert. Why insert? This is V editor, VIM editor, both are same. Now remove the changes which I don't want it. So I remove all these changes. So these changes I'm going to remove up till this point. Why these changes I'm going to remove? These are developer one changes. I'm going to remove those changes. Now let's remove the changes. Okay. Now also the first line, that is also not required. Okay. So now just save all the files now. Save it like WQ. Save all the files and then close it. And then those files are deleted. Yeah. But there is only one file now. So we have a .java file as usual. Apart from this, there's another file which is .org. Let me show you first actual file. That's actual file. Yes. So now the line 1 and 3, we have developer, 2 changes, local changes, and then .org file. What was that file? Configured file. So we call it original file. Okay. What is original means? When there was a conflict. So what was the file? That was original file. Okay. So this was the original file or configured file. Now what is the next thing? What is the file status? Now tell me the file status. What could be the file status? Untracked? Untracked or unstaged? Unstaged, not untracked. So this is untracked. What was that file? Original file. But what is our actual file status is? Modified, which is unstaged. Okay. So now let's stage that. I'm going to stage it only our actual file. I'm not going to stage this org file. I'm not going to commit that, but we'll be committing it when we create the branches. We'll talk about that. We'll come back to that part later. Now only add, git add, and the file. So only that file. So .org file, I'm not going to commit or push it. Why? So that is a conflicted file. I don't want to commit that file into my repository. Why? If the file is committed and pushed to the repository, then other developers, when they pull it, they might be confusions. So what is that .org file? So they don't understand this file. So that is the reason, don't commit and push to the remote repository, but you can push it, but not into the master. When we talk about other branches concept, I'll talk about that org file. How do you push it? But anyway, stage it. Git commit -m. Let's say conflict resolve. Now, previously the status was merging. Now it is successfully merged. Then go with git push. Well, now developer 2 has resolved the conflict. Now, what developer 1 has to do now? So that's why always, if you don't want any conflicts, make sure you update your repository and then you modify it, then commit. But let's try with fetch again. Instead of pulling, I'm going with fetch. So now this is the commit, right? That's a commit. Okay, I copy the commit. And if I check the log, let's say just check the log, sorry. I make it copy, but check the log. Can I see that new log? I don't see that log. When do you see the logs? You see the log only that is updated. Can you see that? But what if I want to see the log? We can go with git log and then commit ID. Now you can see the log. So there is your conflict resolved. Okay. So then I pull it. Once I pull it, will be updated. Git. What was that? Pull. Yeah, it is all done. Now open the file first. Now there is a file from developer 2, and you want to see the logs. You can see the log information. Okay. So now in this example, how many files we had conflict? 2 files. We had conflicts in 2 files. Did we? 1 file. So now try that first. Okay. So conflict for 1 file. Now, how to resolve it if you have conflict for multiple files? Do you see any changes, any difference for both? Any changes if 1 file or 2 file? See, there won't be any difference. The only difference is, so when you pull it, then it shows the conflict for 2 files. When I was pulling that, message was conflict was for 1 file. Now, but here, when you have multiple files, it is going to show you a message that conflict for multiple files. Okay. There. So resolve the conflict for multiple files. Once. So I'll give an example for 2 developers, right? Does it make any difference if you have 10 developers? So whether you have 1 developer, 2 developers, or 10 developers, so it's all same. But what you're going to practice, how you're going to practice this scenario is, so we can try this way. But if you want to get more experience, real-time experience, and what you do, and you ask your friend, your friends, and give your repository URL to him, and then you both are developers, and then you commit first. One user commits, and then other user commits. You sit side by side, of course, or you can share your screens, whatever it is, and then so 1 developer, 1 user, ask him to commit first, then you commit it, and see same things happen. Okay, but so another thing is, on your server, on your screen, in the config list, so what is that config list? Git config -- list. On your Git bash configurations, you set the username as developer1. On other person's config list, set the username as developer2. Then, so you'll be able to understand clearly. Okay, so try that. So try this, or else there's a better way. So I don't have a friend, so how do I practice this scenario? Not a problem. So do one thing. So launch an EC2 instance. Okay, so your server 1, developer 1 will be on your local, your Windows, and then developer 2. So for developer 2, and he will be working on, yourself. Okay, you will be working on EC2 instance. But make sure you install Git on it first. How to install Git on Linux? EC2 yum install Git. Then, so try that. First you push it from local, and then you push it from the remote. EC2, the same thing. Okay. So whatever you want to practice, you can practice that. Whether you want to go like side by side, you two friends, or else so developer 1 on local instance and developer 2 on your remote instance. So whether you work with Windows or Git, the commands are same. So don't think that I'm working with Linux commands, I'm working with EC2 Linux instances, the commands are different. So these are Git commands. There's nothing called Git Windows commands, Git Linux commands. We have tool commands, not the platform commands. Okay, good. So try this. Yeah, these are 3 scenarios you're going to try. Yeah, what is the question?
So if there are multiple lines of code, how can we resolve the problem?
Multiple
Lines of code, every is 100 line.
Yeah, of course.
So it's very difficult to do manually.
Yeah, that is difficult. Of course. So whether you have 1 line or 100 lines, so this is the process you resolve it. Okay, even if you have 100 lines, so you need to resolve the conflict manually. So that is the reason. So developers always needs to update their repository. If that is not updated, that's a conflict.
So Git fetch, we'll get what is the update result on Git fetch?
Git fetch.
If you give Git fetch, we'll get the update from the repository. What is the latest log?
Let them go first. Then I'll answer your question. Okay. Thank you. So those who want to talk, you can go out and talk. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not going to answer your questions because if you keep talking it, so I can't answer your questions. Okay, those who have questions, please stay back, and those who want to talk, you can go outside. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Any questions? Those